जनाब स्पीकर, अफसोस से कहना पड़ता है यह आज मेरा मेजन स्पीच है नेशनल असेंबली में। ये जो दो बड़ी जमातें ने आज हरकत किया है, मैं समझता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान की अवाम इस तमाशा को पसंद नहीं करते होंगे। जितना पैसा खर्च किया गया इस इलेक्शन में, जितना खून दिया गया इस इलेक्शन में, हमने उन अवाम को मायूस नहीं करना था। और आज का जो एहतजाज है, एहतजाज जमहूरी हक होता है, मगर मैं समझता हूँ कि यह एहतजाज जो ट्रेजरी बेंचेस से भी हुए हैं, ये भी नाकाबिल कबूल था। और मिस्टर स्पीकर, मैं एक्सपेक्ट करता हूँ कि आप अपना हाउस को आगे जाके ऑर्डर में रखेंगे। Mr. Speaker, I bow my head in gratitude before Almighty Allah that I have been blessed with the opportunity to be a member of this august house. This house is the supreme institution. It is the mother of all institutions. It is a repository of the will of the people of Pakistan, the very foundations of which, the very foundations, from the foundation stone to the 1973 Constitution, were put in place by Qaid-e-Awam Shaheed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Where Shaheed Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto served as both leader of the House and leader of the opposition, the first female Prime Minister of Pakistan and the first female Prime Minister in the Muslim world. It is indeed a great honor and a challenge for me to be here today. ये जो अवाम का घर है, it has survived attacks from both within and from without. And while we congratulate you, Mr. Speaker, on being elected to your office, we pray कि आप एक बार में पूरी सियासी जमातों के साथ मिलकर, सब सियासी जमातों के साथ मिलकर इस हाउस का इज्जत को, इस हाउस के एहतराम को बचाएंगे, इस हाउस की सुप्रीमेटी का तहफ़्फ़ुज़ करेंगे। Mr. Speaker, I would like to start by paying tribute to Shaheed Haroon Bilawal and the 20 martyrs of the Peshawar attack. I would like to pay tribute to Shaheed Siraj Raisani and the 128 martyrs of the Mustung attack. I would like to pay tribute to Shaheed Ikramullah Gandapur. I would like to pay tribute to the 32 martyrs of the election day Quetta attack. I would like to pay tribute to all the victims of violence in this election, Mr. Speaker, from law enforcement agencies to police to the citizens of Pakistan. In an election, Mr. Speaker, that the Election Commission of Pakistan called peaceful across the country. Shame. Mr. Speaker, we've gotten used to having bloody elections after bloody elections. We lose lives we never get back. The dead never get justice. The survivors never get answers. This must change, Mr. Speaker, and this is why the Pakistan People's Party demands a full-fledged investigation into each and every terrorist attack that took place this election cycle. The facts must come out and must be presented before this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the 2018 general elections have showed us that we have not learned from history, that elections are still manipulated, that there is no level playing field. We saw media hype for some and media blackout for others. We saw some candidates get their results within 2 hours, and others it took 3 days. There was pre-poll rigging, Mr. Speaker, and there was post-poll rigging. Form 45s are missing to this day. Polling agents were kicked out of polling stations across the country. The supposed failure of the RTS system, the continued violation of the Electoral Act 2017. The list is long, Mr. Speaker, and the list is shameful, Mr. Speaker. Despite our reservations, despite having rejected the electoral process, the Pakistan People's Party decided to be a member of this House, to take part of the democratic process, to not allow for any untoward incidents towards our fragile democracy. And we took it upon ourselves to approach other political parties who had not only rejected the results, but also refused to be members of this House. And I thank all opposition parties for agreeing to be part of the democratic process, for agreeing to be part and members of this Parliament, and I believe that the Prime Minister too should thank opposition parties, Mr. Speaker. For if it wasn't for the opposition parties, Mr. Speaker, you would not be sitting on your chair, the Prime Minister would not have his chair, and Khuda na khasta we'd be facing a constitutional crisis. The Pakistan People's Party has always preferenced parliamentary supremacy, always guarded democratic rights, but this does not mean that we will let anyone get away with the discrepancies of this election, and we therefore join all other opposition parties in demanding a parliamentary commission to investigate these discrepancies. This commission should be formed with members of both houses of the National Assembly and Senate of Pakistan. Let the truth come out, Mr. Speaker. And it's beyond just accusations of election rigging, Mr. Speaker. We must assess what it has cost for Khan Sahib to take this space today. Because it has cost us dearly, Mr. Speaker. We've compromised on our democracy. We've lost our freedoms. Freedom of association, freedom of dissent, freedoms of the press. We've compromised on our fundamental human rights, Mr. Speaker. We've ceded space of this Parliament. We've weaponized 62 and 63. We've mainstreamed extremism. We've exploited religion for political gain. We've pitted one Pakistani against another, Mr. Speaker. And worst of all, we've taught an entire generation of Pakistanis that might is right. I hope, Mr. Speaker, that the price we've paid is worth paying, because we'll be paying this price for generations to come. In addition to these challenges, Mr. Speaker, in addition to these democratic challenges, Mr. Speaker, our country faces many problems. Our Prime Minister-elect has promised to deliver a roadmap within his first 100 days. I look forward to seeing how he will create 10 million new jobs, build 5 million new homes, end poverty, end corruption, end our water crisis, reinvigorate our industries, support our farmers, and lest we forget, create the South Punjab province. Our economy is in a dire straits, Mr. Speaker. We're drowning in debt. We have an economy that works for the few and not for the many. It is in need of radical reform. I'd like to remind the Prime Minister-elect of some of the promises he made. I believe he said that he would rather commit suicide than take a begging bowl and ask for loans. I believe he said he would not go to the IMF. So we all are in anticipation for what alternative plans will be presented to remove us from these difficult times and the disastrous nature in which the economy, Prime Minister Saab, will inherit. Speaker, we have foreign policy challenges. Pakistan today stands isolated. We've antagonized our neighbors. We've lost our prestige on the world stage. And while this narrative is hurtful, because Pakistan has sacrificed so much in the fight against violent extremism, Pakistan is seen as part of the problem and not as part of the solution. And while I'm sure the new government will take all efforts to take Pakistan's narrative to the world, to explain Pakistan's position in the world, we also must find the courage, Mr. Speaker, to look inwards. We must find this courage to look inwards and address our own faults. If we do not find the courage to confront violent extremism, it will not only have consequences for our foreign policy, it will not only antagonize the world at large, but it will damage the future coming generations. It will damage the future of our coming generations in Pakistan. It should be the incoming government's top priority. I believe that the government is committed. I believe that the government is committed to implementing the National Action Plan, and the opposition will hold them accountable to that promise. However, Khan Sahib got here, Mr. Speaker. He is now to be the Prime Minister of this worthy nation. The people of Pakistan are looking to him to solve their issues through us, the democratically elected representatives of the people. मैं वज़ीर आज़म इलेक्ट को मुबारकबाद देने के साथ साथ ये याद दिलाना चाहूँगा कि वो किसी मखसूस जमात का वज़ीर आज़म नहीं है, वो पूरा पाकिस्तान का वज़ीर आज़म है, हर पाकिस्तानी का वज़ीर आज़म है. He is also the Prime Minister of those Pakistanis he called Zinda Lashe. He is also the Prime Minister of Pakistani. He is also the Prime Minister of those Pakistanis he referred to as goats and sheep. वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान की हैसियत में, मिस्टर स्पीकर, वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान की हैसियत में, मिस्टर स्पीकर, मुझे उम्मीद है कि खान साहब माजी के नफरत अंगेज सियासत से गुरेज करेंगे, अपनी इंतहा पसंदी की सियासत से गुरेज करेंगे और जिस इंटॉलरेंस की कल्चर को आज तक फरोग देते आए हैं उसको दफन करके पूरे मुल्क को साथ लेकर चलेंगे. Agar the Prime Minister-elect persists in spreading intolerance, fanning the flames of bigotry, if he undermines the dignity of this House or the supremacy of the Constitution of Pakistan, he will have to go through us and he will find us opposing him every step of the way. Because the Pakistan People's Party has never and will never compromise on the interests of the people of Pakistan, compromise on the interests of democracy, or compromise on the interests of this great country. However, Mr. Speaker, agar Wazir Azam elect ne constitutional supremacy, parliamentary supremacy, और greater public interest को, awam ke masail को अपना मकसद बनाया, then he will find us standing in his support. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank and congratulate the Prime Minister-select and wish him good luck. Dr.